But there's a lot of people that say they want to do it.
Yeah.
But do you really want to do it? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to put in the time?
Welcome back to Podcast on Wheels. I'm your host, Brian Smith. And today in studio, we've got not only one of my best friends, but one of the guys who's leading the real estate in North Alabama. We have Frank Donley with Donley Real Estate and the Real Group. This guy has been on the show before. This is the first repeat guest we've had in Podcast on Wheels. Welcome to the show, Frank.
Man, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. And man, I'm loving watching you guys grow. It's been amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. I do. And as I said, you're one of my best friends. And you show up today in this suit, bro. This thing is awesome. Tell us about it. I mean, where did you get this at? How long have you had it?
You know, I got it in LA probably about 6 months ago. I'll buy some stuff down here in Huntsville, but every now and then when I want to go pick up 3 to 5 suits, I take a trip down to LA.
Nice.
They call it the alleys. And you go in there, they literally hook you up the same day. You let them know how many suits you want to buy. They'll get you the suits that you want. You go get them tailored right then and there. And you have them that day or the next day.
Awesome. And that's how he runs about everything in his life, Mr. Efficiency. So we've been kind of hanging out in the studio, guys, and I wish you could have heard some of the conversations we had before. But Frank, kind of, you on the first show, you told us about kind of where you started in the military and your upbringing and how that affected where you're at. And now, I think on the show, your boys were 6 and now they're 7. And
Yep.
It's been about a year since we recorded. So kind of update us on, you weren't coaching, you were helping people. I think there was 5 or 6 at that time that you were helping and growing, but kind of just bring us up to speed right here.
Yep. So with our real company, we went from about 5 agents on board to about 20 agents currently. Okay. And we're growing pretty fast. Right now, we're the fastest growing company in the U.S., which is pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And then we had last year was a great year. We got a lot of clarity in our lives. Our business is thriving, and we got a lot of quality time with family. Kids were doing mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. Had a blast with that, doing that myself until I got injured, but I'll be back in there very soon. And this year's going to be an amazing year.
Well, if you guys watched the first show, there were several times that I told Frank, I'm jealous of where he's at this age. And now, having guys like you around me forces me to level up, brother. And as we were talking earlier, as you're helping these agents when they come on and they're new, and tell us a little bit about those first conversations when you learn about their mindset or things, because that illustrates who you are and who you want working with you, et cetera. So just bring us up to speed there.
Man, I tell everybody, in real estate this past year, I believe it was about only 82% of the agents actually sold a home. So we have a really big fallout rate in the industry. It's not for everybody. But the thing is, when I connect with people, I ask them a few questions to see where their goals are at, if they're self-efficient, and if they're hungry. We don't want everybody, we want the right people. And if I can see it in someone's eyes and I can feel that they want to succeed and they're actually make it happen, we bring them on board, we point them in the right direction. I'll come with a game plan to succeed. And honestly, it's just up to them to make it happen. And of course, we're here to help each other out and help each other grow and holding each other accountable.
Yeah. And, we do health insurance and you do the real estate. And we've talked about, when you bring people on and you're like, hey, what are your goals? Sometimes we've found, and I think you kind of alluded to this, maybe working with us is not the best way, but we can refer. And now you have a network of people where, because here's the thing, if somebody was getting their insurance license, I would want them to talk to me first and give me a chance to say, hey, this is where I see you fitting in. And you, over the years, you've got experience in multi-states. Mm-hmm. You've got experience with a lot of agents. You've traveled all over, I mean, and learned a lot of things. So when you bring them in, how do you see, you say if they're hungry, what does that mean to you?
Everyone has different goals. Not everybody wants to come in the real estate industry, be a top producer. Not everybody wants to make $1 million a year, $500,000, or even $250,000 a year. Some people are okay with just making $50,000 to $100,000. There's nothing wrong with that. There's some people that want their hand held a little bit more. They want someone to kind of really, really hold their hand throughout the whole process. With Real Broker, for most people, it doesn't make the most sense unless they join a team. And if they have a team, that's a little different. Now, I've pointed people in the other direction with other companies locally here in Southern California as well, because it just didn't make sense for them. and I believe I'm doing the right thing 100% of the time. Now, if it makes more sense to work with someone like myself at Real Broker, I let them know the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly, and that's the way. So that's the way I think business should be done.
Yeah, because too many people, let's say they look at Instagram and they see friends of ours showing a home or showing up in their car to that home. And they think, ooh, I can do that. I want to go list a $1.7 million high rise. I want to go list a $3 million home. And are all your houses that you list $2-3 million?
No.
No.
I've sold $1 million homes, and I've sold $40,000 trailers, and I've sold $40,000 pieces of land. It's not always rainbows and sunshine.
Right. But all those experiences just brought you here.
Exactly.
Right. And it's like, so as you've developed, let's go back to Frank. And, we know your background. We know your dedication. We understand your integrity, because not only did you say you forego deals in the first show about doing the right thing, now you're telling me you're not like forcing people to work with you, because you would make money off of those agents if they joined your team, because you're giving to them, you're training them, you're helping them with leads, you're helping them with how this process works. But it's not about, it just kind of hit me to you and where you're at. It's not so much about the income to a certain point anymore. So help us out here.
So I believe I'm doing the right thing for the person, for that individual. If it makes more sense for them to work with us and come on board, I'll bring them right on board. If it makes more sense for them to go elsewhere, I'll let them know. And it's just me asking questions and what their end goal is. What I've been taught was how you find out if you're able to help somebody is by asking good questions. And that's what I do.
Okay. So let's switch some roles right here. Let's say that I come to you and I want to work in real estate. What are some questions you would hit me with, like goals wise?
Where are you at currently in your business?
Well, man, I'm just getting started. I just got my license and I'm excited about this opportunity, Frank.
Okay, awesome. Now, what are you expecting to get from real estate and through real estate? And are you going to be doing this full time or part time?
I want to do it full time, and I want to get a motorcycle like yours and one of those fast cars like yours, and I want suits like that too.
Okay, it may take a little bit of time, but we can do it. Unless you got a bunch of money in the bank account that I don't know about.
No.
Okay.
I spent all my money on my license.
Okay. Now the question is, do you have 3 to 6 months of a cushion, just in case you don't get paid in the next 3 to 6 months?
Wow, I never thought about that. I guess I may be able to do. I don't know.
Okay. So if you do have 3 to 6 months, then you could dive in and go all in real estate. But I do recommend that anybody that does this business have anywhere from 3 to 6 months in the bank account, because what you do today doesn't pay you till 90 days or further out. I've been working it. There's a deal that I got on the market right now that I was following up with for over a year. Just hit the market.
Wow.
So these are things to keep in mind. I will teach you how to get the now business, but there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to fall straight on your face. There's going to be times where they cuss you out. There's going to be times where they say they don't need your help, or sometimes they'll go with someone else. And that's just part of the business. So you got to know how to handle objections. You got to know how to, one more no is closer to a yes, and you got to have some grit. But I'm here for you if you need it.
Awesome. And the reason I wanted to do that, I didn't prep you with that, and I knew I was going to kind of catch you.
Uh-huh.
I've seen you in front of a group of real estate agents at one of your events handle objections. I've seen you sit down at the table and walk them through your binder. And now we have an example of how you would bring on an agent. And I wanted people to see that side of you, Frank, because I didn't prep you for that. You knew exactly where you wanted to go. You led me down the path. And then you told me that if I don't have that cushion, I'm probably going to fall flat on my face, and I'm probably not going to be able to get one of those suits because I'm going to run out of money.
It may make sense for someone to be part-time at first and working with a team, or partnering with a good agent. Mm-hmm. And then until they put some of that money away, or until they know how to get business, close business. Because there's times where you have people that come into the business thinking that it's instant gratification. They're going to make a shit ton of money just because they got their real estate license. You know, we look good on Instagram in some of these houses. You might see me in these suits, but you didn't see how many times it where I was struggling to pay my bills when I first got into business, or it took me 6 months to close my first deal. And that's what I tell people. There's a lot more behind the scenes. I don't share the nights where I was like, dang, where am I going to get my next paycheck? I don't share that shit. Well, thank God I'm in a better place now.
Right.
But the first year wasn't easy. I mean, I'd rather just keep it real with people than bullshit them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that I appreciate about you is from the first day I met you, if, I say there's a lot of promise makers out there, you're a promise keeper. And if you told me you were going to do something, you've done it.
Yep.
Whether it's been our kids' baseball stuff, a real estate deal, or just meeting me somewhere to talk to me because I'm trying to figure out some business stuff. I love how you evaluate. Where did you learn those, how to handle objections and things like that? How are you so just systematic there?
So I was in a coaching program for years. I'm in a different coaching program now, but I was taught that in real estate, it is a sales business. If anyone tells you they're not a salesperson and they're a realtor, they're full of shit. I'd rather just keep it real.
Yeah.
I sell myself and I sell my service.
Right.
That's what I do. Now, just like any other sport or any other business where if you're a professional, you're gonna role play, you're gonna practice, and that's what I did. I role played every morning from 7:30 to 8 a.m. and I'd bang the phones right at 8 a.m. to hunt for business. At 12 or at 1 p.m. I was going over my listing presentation. I did that shit every day for multiple years.
Yeah.
Now do I do it as much? Not as much as I should. I do it a couple times a week where I go over my scripts for prospecting, handling objections, and my listing presentation.
Yeah.
And that's why today I close out of 10 listing presentations I go on, I close 9. They end up hiring me on the spot, or they'll call me back later that day and they'll tell me your presentation was the best presentation. And honestly, that's why I'm in business. That's why before I used to prospect probably, I work 80 a lot of hours. I would prospect. It took me about a couple hundred calls to get an appointment. Now it just takes me about 10 to 20 contacts and I can set an appointment. And it's because of any other athlete would understand the time hitting off the tee, the time putting in that work, taking those ground balls, the time that you go out there and shoot those shots. You have to do the little things to get the big things.
And I'll quote a friend of mine here, Nick Hyder. He will say that confidence is the memory of past success. So even when I got the first message from you on Facebook, your way about finding out information of this area because you were coming in to do real estate was genius. You got me, but I'm glad I did because now we have the friendship. But you've always been growing and evolving, right? So you've grown this to where you want it to be. What are some things that you would encourage just people in general that are looking as entrepreneurs or how to get their systems in place? Like maybe allude to your binder or things that you do to go that extra step.
Educating yourself, investing in yourself is important. I invest in coaching. I invest in the best systems out there so our clients have the best experience. You have to invest in yourself in either financially and time-wise. And my wife and myself, my better half, we invest in ourselves so we can give the best overall experience for our clients. And that's important. Most agents don't do that, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Most agents aren't in the office at 07:30. Most agents don't show up till about 10, 11 o'clock. And then they show up to do a little bit of paperwork and then they go fishing at 2 o'clock. It blows my mind. But they're the ones that are complaining on why the market sucks, when the market evolves or changes. It's the agents that put in the work, that invest in themselves, that see a lot of success in this business.
And that's a great way to say it. So you brought up your wife again right there, and as watching your social media and knowing you guys personally, but seeing she's doing a little bit more now. Yeah. Is that way it's going? So help us out here, because when y'all, it's kind of like Courtney and I, we run our business together, and it can be a blessing and not a blessing sometimes. I'll just leave it at that. But, how do you guys make that part work? Because I've seen her on more social media. I've seen her showing some houses and doing some more things. How do y'all make that work? And because I know a lot of couples out there want to do this, it's not easy, but how do y'all make it work?
Man, I'm blessed. I always tell people who you choose as a partner is one of the biggest decisions you make in your life. I've been blessed with a great partner. She's amazing. We were blessed for, I think it was about 5 years before she came in the business, that she can raise our kids. Now the kids are in school. Now she's involved in the business. And my life is so much easier. We have a better relationship. Mm-hmm. We work together. Some people would hate it, but I love it, because who do I trust more than my wife? There's no one I trust more than her. I trust her with my life. There's sometimes we don't see eye to eye on things, and she'll put me in check, or I'll be like, "Hey, babe, that's not right. I need to fix that." But it's a balance. It's not always easy. But getting her out of her comfort zone, She's on the social. She hates me on social media.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get her on this podcast.
Well, I'd rather see her than you if you want to know the
she's a lot
truth. I mean,
prettier than
she's
me.
beautiful. I mean, you're not
Yeah.
bad, but yeah.
She's a lot prettier than me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I told her, I was like, by the end of this year, you're gonna be on this podcast. So I told her that. I said, you're gonna get out there and get out of your comfort zone. So we're working her up to that. A little bit of Instagram and stuff.
Awesome.
It's a blessing. I love it.
It truly is, because you hit the nail on the head. Who do you trust more than your wife? I mean, you're going into creating a family with her.
Yeah.
And your kids are, the twins are 7 and the
daughter's
girl's
5.
5. Awesome. Tell us a little bit about them. How are they doing?
I am so blessed to have such amazing kids. The boys and my daughter are going to be playing baseball this year. So they finished up with Muay Thai last month. They're a little bummed out about leaving Muay Thai, but they asked me to sign up for baseball, so I signed them up for baseball. And my daughter, I wasn't going to coach because I was planning on handling some stuff out on the West Coast, going back and forth. But my daughter asked me to coach her in baseball. How do you turn down your 5-year-old daughter? You don't. My boys, I wasn't planning on coaching them. He reached out and he said, hey, I'd be more than happy to coach your kids. I was like, cool, man. And then I asked him, hey, when you asked me to help out as an assistant, I said, are you guys okay if daddy helps out with baseball? And they're like, yeah. Okay, cool. I don't want to be that dad that pushes their kids away from sports. I want to make sure they do the things that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen so many times, I mean, coming from California, playing sports growing up, I've seen so many great athletes have parents that ruin the game for them. Baseball, basketball, football, because their parents are trying to live through their kids, or their parents are pushing them so hard. Let them be a fucking kid, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I'm at in my life, just being there for my kids, pushing them however they want to be pushed, but at the same time, not raising weenies.
Yeah. And your boys, obviously they're not weenies, because then you would kind of smack that out of them in a way. But we all have that, and that's one thing that we've talked about this area. You and I both have connections all over the world in a way, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, what is your plans and goals for North Alabama, Huntsville, Madison, this area? Like, you and I alluded to it before the show, and I guess this would be the first time we say it, but we're pretty much committed to staying here and building this community. So, and you kind of alluded to that. So tell us where you're going with that.
We're in Madison. We love it. It's a great place for our family, for our kids. And to be honest, I just want to be the number one listing agent in the area. That's a goal of mine. While doing that, I want to help as many families as I possibly can buy or sell real estate. We're good at what we do. We offer top-tier customer service, and we want to make sure that North Alabama knows about that. Number 2, we want to grow our company, Real Broker. We want to bring on, good talent, strong agents. I don't go out there and focus on recruiting. Honestly, people are attracted to winners. People want to be around winners. People want to be around good people. And we just want to attract like-minded people. I don't want everybody. I want the right people. I want good people. I want hungry people, and people that are willing to get out of their comfort zone and create a better life for their family. That's what we're looking for. And of course, giving back to the community. I'm a big believer, give back to your freaking community. If you're making money or a dollar off your community, you better be giving back to them.
Yeah. We need to. And that's one great thing about our community is, you probably know this better than me, but I believe, is Huntsville the largest city in Alabama now? I think it just surpassed Birmingham.
Yeah.
And then, like, the growth rate and the opportunities, obviously, I mean, we're not in D.C., so you're not going to sell those houses of all those people that just got fired.
I don't want to deal with those types of people.
But we'll go into that on another show. But this area, the amount of people coming in and out and helping, but you've taught me so much about the real estate side, as far as, not only do you list houses and help people through that process, you also understand what real estate is doing in multiple states and keeping track of stuff. Yeah. And you've had software that could give people a real assessment of their home value. And those little extra things that you bring. Tell us about your binder, because I'm impressed with the suit. But the one thing that I keep coming back, I've talked to a lot of real estate agents, and I'm not saying that they don't have a binder, okay? But I've been so impressed with that. And I've talked to other people who have bought and sold several houses. And I'm like, how many people have showed up the first meeting and said, here you go? So explain that, like, how did you come up with that? How does that work?
So it came actually from the coach coming out. I started with They have a pre-listing package that gets delivered to the door before meeting with your sellers. I do this for all of our sellers. I'm a professional. I'm handling their biggest asset. I need to show up like a professional. I need to know my market stats. I need to know where I want to list their house for. So when I go on these appointments, because I was fresh to the market a couple years back, people didn't know who Frank Donley was. But when I showed up, they knew who Frank Donley was. They were like, "Wow, your presentation is amazing." And there's a reason why we're closing 9%, 90% of the listing presentations that we go on, is because of our presentation is sharp. I want to show them what we do to get homes sold. I have references on there, a little bit about the wife and myself, not too much, just what they need to know, and comps that shows them exactly where we recommend to price their home. And of course, I need to see the house before I really give them a number. Then I have contracts in there so they can review it and see it. There's some agents that just try to sneak it in on them. No, I want you to know this contract before we meet. I want you to know what we do to actually sell homes, because not all real estate agents are created equal. We don't all do the same thing. We don't just put a sign in the yard and pray that it sells. No, we invest a lot of money in our clients' properties. We have the best photographers go out, and I mean, we keep it real with our clients. I'm gonna be honest. I lost a listing, or I didn't even get to go on an appointment because a seller told me that there's no way they're going to be able to get the price that they're hoping to get on the property. They said the other agent can get about $70,000 more, and it just expired. And I'm like, you know what? I wish you guys the best of luck. I recommend we get together so we can go over the comps together. But I'd rather keep my word and be honest than try to bullshit someone just to get a business. And that's how we do business: be honest, having a good presentation, being sharp, being a professional, and doing what's right for our clients. Because not everybody's going to do that, unfortunately.
Well, there's, you said if somebody's in real estate and they say they're not in sales, they're full of crap. So, but you've illustrated how you sell yourself and your services. And that's where your focus point is, because that's a part, like when you go to that first meeting and do that, how long does that take? What is that, how long are you at their house to go through that process?
Normally 15 to 30 minutes. I'm very efficient.
Yeah.
I show up, I point exactly where my sign's going to go before I even present. I knock on the door. I give them a nice solid handshake. I make sure I'm dressed as a professional. I tour the home, get a good feel for the property through the eyes of a buyer. We sit down. I go through my presentation, and I ask them when they're ready to put me to work. And of course, the numbers have to make sense for them. The price that we set on the home has to make sense for them. They have to be legit seller, because there's some people that are like, my house is worth $500,000, but I want $1 million. That's not going to happen, dude. And I can't waste my time with people that aren't realistic. And most of the time they're like, man, you're awesome. We're ready to hire you right now. Or they'll say, hey, we'll call you back within 24 hours. Awesome. I make sure to follow up. In fact, if for some reason I leave without the contract signed, but most of the time they're ready to hire me right then and there. And most of the time I'm competing with 2 to 3 other agents.
Of course.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I smile because I had a guy tell me one time when I used to be in the car business, we went into the lane where we're bidding on cars. And he said, oh my God, this auction is like every man for himself. And I turned my hat around backwards and I said, that's the way I like it. Let's go. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that made it fun. And when you go out and compete for that deal, it's like I'm competing against other health insurance agents because I want to take care of my family and I want to take care of other families, right? And you and I resonate there as far as giving back to the community. As you have developed the binder, you've developed this process, 15 to 30 minutes, brother. I've had some people that tell me that's a 3-4 hour process.
Because they don't have efficiency in their business.
But it's true, isn't it? And who the hell wants to spend 4 hours talking about, because I'm me and I'm not like a lot of people, but if you spend 4 hours with me and then you BS me on the back end of my home value,
yes.
Yeah, I would rather you come give me 30 minutes. You show up with your presentation, you make it done in 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and judge that the rest of your process is probably going to be that efficient.
Yeah, we have SOPs in place for everything. From the moment we set an appointment to the moment we close. We literally have a checklist that we follow. My wife is always on it.
Yeah.
She's letting me know, hey, Frank, you need to do this or you need to do that. And that's the way business should be ran. 7% of the realtors in the place don't have SOPs in place, unfortunately.
I'm going to interrupt you. I apologize, but I have to, because some people don't know what SOPs are.
Standard operating procedure.
There you go. Yep.
If you do it more than twice, you should have it written down somewhere.
Talk to us about that. Standard operating procedures. Is that military? Is that before that? Where did you
You
get
know what? I learned that from the military.
Yeah.
When I showed up to my first real estate office, I asked them, where's our checklist? And they
Right.
looked at me like I was fucking crazy.
Right.
And I was like, well, you guys got all this stuff that we need to do. Where's our checklist? So that office ended up creating a checklist because of me. And it was cool because I think that was the best thing for the agents in that market or in that office. And then what I did, I got into coaching. I got some stuff from other agents that were pretty good. I went to a new company that they ended up recruiting me. He had a great system. He had great checklists and systems and operating procedures. Rip off and duplicated. I did the same thing. He was totally cool with it. And man, I just been tweaking stuff throughout the process. And I love it.
Well, the thing that you build with your network, I don't like to say customers with you because I feel like you work with most people you work with, right? I mean, they are customers in a way. But how much of your business now, I haven't even asked you this question, how much of your business now would you guesstimate is a referral?
We're starting to get a lot more referrals in Alabama because we're going into our third year of real estate. And people are starting to hear about us. They're starting to tell their families and friends about us. And it's awesome. Before we got out to Alabama and California, 60% of my business was referrals.
Right.
Because they knew we were taking care of people. Get that, especially on the West Coast, is tough because out there, they're always shopping. They're always looking for the next best thing. And out here, people are very loyal to their people. I always ask people, hey, are you open to comparing apples to apples? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I've known this person for 20 years. Okay, well, if they're the better fit, go ahead and hire them again.
Sure.
For some reason, if I do get to the point, they end up hiring me.
Right.
Because they see the difference. Like, wow, you were on it. I've known this guy, and I hate not using him. And it's, at the end of the day, I know what I bring to the table, and I will always earn people's business. I don't beg for business. I earn their business.
Right.
And then they tell their family and friends about me, and I love it.
Well, one thing that I just heard you say is basically you created a business and a system in a tougher market, which is California. It is. Yeah. There's more realtors. There's probably more properties. There's more. The houses will cost more. So there's probably more people with binders.
Yeah.
Probably is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a different level, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so you've went out and kicked butt over there. Now you come to Alabama, you rinse and repeat, and now you're back at that. Now we're approaching that 50% referral, 60% referral going into this year. And it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. That's why you're so good at it, because this is your second state to conquer. And that's awesome. But tell us, as you've evolved to Alabama, what are this will be for the local people. Tell us some funny stuff, different from California to Alabama. What are some stories? Entertain me here.
There's so many, there's a big difference. California is a little bit ahead when it comes to real estate marketing and the things that they do. It is a few, actually 3 to 5 years ahead is what I kind of got a feel on. People are very old school out here, which is nothing wrong with being old school. But you got to evolve. Man, there was one time I was trying to show a house. It took me a week to hear back from the agent. What's going on, man? And people not trying to use systems that our MLS has, like showing time. Not trying to use regular lock boxes that they should be using. They're hurting their clients, man. Yeah. And it's stuff like that. Alabama is a buyer beware state, so you really got to have a good home inspector. You really got to do your due diligence. And I see people just trying to push deals that they shouldn't be pushing through, I'm just like, whoa, you should be asking for more things. And I had a buyer or a seller that they ended up selling with me. They bought a house just 2 years before. Didn't have a home inspection on a new construction. Dude, I don't trust most of these new construction builders. You got to have a home inspection if it's new construction or if it's resale. Right. It's a buyer beware state.
Tell us what that means. What does buyer beware state mean?
So there's no seller disclosures. So in other states, there are seller disclosures where they got to tell you everything that's wrong with the property.
So that's why some of my boards and stuff didn't match after I finally got into the house that I just, Okay. Yeah, some things just didn't. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you pet.
You got to do your own due diligence. You got to have your own home inspector come through. And, I have the best home inspector in the area. He's amazing. And unfortunately, I've had to go through a couple different ones just because I was like, good. I was like, dude, what is, like, you put the client comes first. And I had a guy it kills me because he was trying to put himself before the client. And he's like, and I was like, I got to change my schedule because of the client. I'm like, yeah, that's the fucking client, dude. You're going to do what's best for the client, not and that's where some people in the industry forget. we're doing this for the clients. We're doing this for home sellers, the buyers. It's not for us. When we do for others, it will always come back.
It will. It will. And yeah, that's you made me think of about, a lot of people that it's really and truthfully, and you said 3 to 5 years, California to Alabama. And I'm going to go back to when we were coaching baseball. I reached out to now friend Alan Jager, and, we talked about arm care, arm strength back probably 2013 or 14. And he said, Brian, you're the second guy. Now, AJ lives in California, and he has a Band-Aid arm care program, and he works with all the major league teams, and this guy is well known in the baseball world. I was the second person in Alabama to talk to him that was interested in his product when everybody in California is already using it. Like, it went into Dick's Sporting Goods before we started really selling them in Alabama. That's how, but it's true.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen. Another thing is, and out there, people were getting into office a lot sooner. I'm so used to, 0730, you practice your scripts, 8 o'clock, you're on the phones, you're prospecting, you're hunting for business. Here, I'm seeing people, and that's why I ended up going with Real, because I went to a couple different offices, and people weren't showing up till 10, 11 o'clock to actually put in work. And I'm just like, what? How are you getting business? And it's a slower pace of life, and that's a good thing, because of being here, I have a lot more family time. But I do feel that if people would just show up a little bit earlier to the office, start working a little earlier, they would get their day a little bit squared away. You can start later, but you got to be willing to put in the work too.
Yeah.
So it's a little
you gotta work when other people are working, though. You're doing prep work before they get to the office, and that's where you get ahead. And that's the difference in you. And that's the reason you're in the position you're in, wearing these suits, being on shows, investing in your social medias and growing and getting slapped in the face by your wife and doing all those fun things. Awesome. That was awesome. That power slap, but she got you, I think.
I told her to lay it on me. I was expecting a little bit more.
You must have been good the day before. Try it again one day when you piss her off. Let's see.
Yeah.
Get a new video. He might take you out. But no, you're having a lot of fun. And that's something that I wanted to hit on in this story. You grew up in California, in maybe not the best of neighborhoods and places, and got to see a lot of things growing up. You got into the military. Now you're in Alabama, where it's like, whoa, who put the brakes on? Okay, well, you guys are talking that slow. And then, because when people meet me and I say I'm from Alabama, they're like, wait, say Alabama again? And that's the only accent that comes out. So, but I see these things. And that's why I travel out to Vegas, and I'm going out to places, and I'm going out, hey, what are you guys doing over here? Right?
Yeah.
Because how else are we going to make our community better if we're not going out and seeking information and bringing it back, right?
Exactly.
And so, but now you're solidified to this area, right? You're going to be here for the foreseeable future. And you and your wife are now getting to work together, because just like Courtney and I did, there were similarities here. When our youngest started school, she went on full time with me. Yeah, it's a very similar story. She was doing that. And now it's like, when you have that support, you have that trust, you're going to win. Yeah. You're going to win. So what is I see these things. Teach us a little bit here, because this is a question I haven't asked you. I will see occasionally on your social media, you're speaking on Zoom calls, you're coaching, you're talking about real estate. Join us for this event. You're hosting. Are those virtual events? Are you hosting in-person events? What are some things you're doing here?
Yeah, I try to do 1 to 2 in-person events in the North Alabama area a year, but monthly I'm connected with a really strong group of strong agents throughout the nation, and we do virtual events. Our group is actually doing events every week. I get to do once a month where I get to go cover an area. Right. We did one recently, $1 Million Mindset. We did one listing presentation, and we cover stuff that we're good at, and we give back to others, give back to other realtors.
So who can get on those calls?
If you're watching this right now, you can go ahead and get on a good bit of those calls. 90% of the stuff we do leave open to the public.
Right.
We're always giving some quality nuggets.
Right.
But then there is that 10% that we keep for our group and our agents, because we want people, of course, to get part of that.
Well, that's why they keep the recipe for Coca-Cola in that safe somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You're still going to keep your bread and butter, but the amount of information that you're giving out there, it does attract the right people to you. right? Because they're saying, hey, if he's giving this much for free, how much more does he know? How much more could he evolve my situation and grow my real estate? So as you grow in North Alabama, as you develop the real estate, are you looking at purchasing some more? Are you looking at venturing into other things? Is there a motorcycle club you're starting? Is there anything else that?
I'm nothing crazy, man. I know what I want, and that's the lane that I'm riding, and I'm gonna make it happen. I mean, we'll have a little spot somewhere in town that I need to get my broker's license, and so I can actually get a spot in North Alabama. Probably Madison. I want a place where people can come in and then love the energy. The culture is important, and I feel like the energy and the culture that I want I haven't been able to find it out here, so I got to create it. So that's something that we're gonna be doing this year. Just bringing on good agents, coaching sports athletes, and then I like to do jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. As long as I'm able to put it in my schedule, do that for fun.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that I wanted people to hear. A lot of times when I talk to any business owner, I don't really care how old they are. I say, hey, what do you do? Well, what day? Well, what time? Well, when? Well, am I doing this or am I doing that? And I used to be guilty of that. I would, somebody would say, hey, Brian, what do you do? And I would jokingly look at my watch and go, well, it's Wednesday, so I'm a car salesman. But on Thursday, I sell insurance. And on Friday, I'm a baseball coach. And on Saturday, I'm Courtney's husband. And on Sunday, what I mean? Yeah. It's like, but you told me when you came in, you're like, I'm staying here. We're doing real estate. I'm going to spend time with my family, and that's pretty much how I'm going to live. That's beautiful, man. I mean, how many people, if you could go back, let's say 12 years ago and tell yourself where you would be right now, would you believe it?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. There's 3 things when I was a kid where I wanted to be. Number 1 was law enforcement. Number 2 was fire. And number 3 was to be a businessman. They used to joke around and call me Frank the Tank, money in the bank. As I said, I'm going to be a baller one day. I was this little kid, saying this thing. Yeah. Those are the only 3 things I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. The businessman that came through real estate. Yeah. I've been very blessed. God, I don't know, I'm blessed beyond measure. And I just want to keep giving to the community, giving to others, and then making this world a better place while I'm here.
Yeah. Well, I've always, I'm going to go back all the way. What year were you born?
93.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to 94 then. I'll say you were 1. But the baseball coach I had back in the mid-90s, he would always look at me and he would say, good things happen to good people. And I would say, well, I guess I'm not a good person because I just struck out. But no, it's like, that's what I see in you. It's that, yes, God is blessing you because of your intentions and your heart and how much you give and how much you do. I mean, just for your family alone and the dad and then the leader and then also the businessman, So Frank the Tank, money in the bank, bro. That should be on your social media. That should be your name.
They used to tell me when I was a kid, Frank the Tank, money in the bank. And I ran with it.
I love it. But what are some things that you would tell somebody, like if you were coaching me in health insurance and something outside of your world, what would you tell me would be a way to prospect? Because you do a great job of that. You do a great job of getting people out there. If you were saying, hey, Brian, you need to sell more insurance, this is what I would do.
First of all, I would ask you, what are your numbers? Mm-hmm. You should know your numbers on prospecting. So how many times did it take for you? How many people do you need to talk to get an appointment? Now, how many appointments that you get that you actually convert? Getting those numbers right is huge. It's crucial for your business. Now, once we know those numbers, now you know exactly what you need to do and how many people you need to talk to get the results you want. That'd be the first thing that I would do.
Numbers, huh? So it all comes back to numbers?
Oh, yeah.
It's all black and white, isn't it? So let's say that I need to talk to 40 people to get 1 appointment. What would be the next thing I need to do?
40 people to get 1 appointment. Now, what's your goal for any year? What's your income goal? And how many families do you want to help?
Okay, so I want to help 20 families a month. So that's going to be 240, and goal would be, let's just say $250,000.
So you got 40. You talk to 40 people, gives you 1 appointment, correct? And of course, we're going to have to take it into factor how many of those you're converting. Now, if you want to help 20 families, now we got to, of course, 20 times, I think 4.
48. Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
800.
of course, crunch those numbers. Now you know exactly how many people you need to talk to that month. So in
So
the
how do I
morning,
talk to that many people though, Frank?
me personally,
Yeah.
there's 100 ways to go about it.
Okay.
I mean, you can talk to people you know. You can talk to people you don't know. For me, I call expired listings. I do some circle prospecting around our listings. And I talk to people I do know. Reach out, check on our past clients. And then I don't even ask for business a lot of times when it's people that I know. It's every other time I'll say, hey, who do you know that we can help? Is it expired? Hey, when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home? Those are the questions I ask. So same thing for you. In insurance, when you reach out to these people, having a script in place that helps you convert, and just reach out to those many people every month. And then either you can do it, you can have a dialer do that for you, or you can hire people to do it for you. Me personally, I like to do it myself because I know most people aren't going to be as hungry as me to hire on out. I know they're going to drop the ball a lot, but eventually there will be a time where I do hire somebody to make those calls, to cold leads. My sphere, I will always stay in touch with either myself or my wife because we want that relationship still. We want to keep that bond. When we created that, we need to make sure we cherish that relationship. They don't want to hear from somebody that they don't know.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. I guess that's why you joined that group, the Real Brokers. But it's as we talk about other locations, and you've lived here, you've lived there, you've learned this over here, you've brought it to Alabama. Would you say, what is your ultimate, like, when you're 50 years old, where do you want to be? What do you see? Because let's see, your kids are going to be mid-20s, 30 years old. They're going to be your age. So where do you see yourself?
See where life takes me. But where I see myself is honestly semi-retired, having a strong business that either I pass off to which is more like I'm going to pass off to one of the kids or even all the kids if they want to do real estate. And honestly be semi-retired with the wife, doing what we want, when we want, we can get up whenever the hell we want. I know I have that. I'm always going to be that person that's always going to want to work. I want to be involved in something, but not having another person telling me what I need to do. So just living our own life, multiple rental properties, having a strong real estate team, having a big downline, and just be able to live the life we create.
Well, here's what I hope everybody just heard my man say here. You didn't say a dollar amount on a home. You didn't tell me a certain motorcycle that you want in the garage or this Dodge, super. Well, you got no more about cars than I do. But what you did say is you wanted your freedom. And that's all, that's what I feel like a lot of people are understanding now. You got some cool ass suits. You got badass motorcycles. You've had some cool cars. I know you've traded around, but ultimately you're talking about spending time with your family.
Yeah.
And having the freedom to do that.
Exactly.
And that is the most awesome thing to hear. You're coming to Alabama. You're going to help people in this area. And not only are you going to help people learn how to make money, learn how to do things the right way, and grow their business regardless, because you just gave me a 1, 2, 3 on health insurance. Have you ever sold health insurance?
No.
Okay. Just checking, but you hadn't. But that's how I would do it. I take my numbers and work it. So you're bringing all that here, and your goal is to enjoy life.
Man, living it, there's nothing better than freedom, man.
Yeah.
I know you talked about it a little bit before the show. Your 7-year-old said that money is a tool. That's all it is, man. People hold on to the money for whatever reason, which is fine. You can go ahead and save as much as you want. That's cool. And I do believe you should have a nest egg. You should be able to invest for your retirement and stuff like that. You got to enjoy it. You leverage it for your family. To be honest, it's just a fucking tool, man. That's all it is. And for some people, it's a contest for some people. Oh, I made more money than you. I made more money than you. I'm not in that pool, man. I don't give a fuck what other people make. To be honest, I just know what I want.
Well, you know what everybody at home just said? Yeah, you can say that when you make his kind of money. Y'all need to quit watching because you're not going to enjoy the show.
Yeah, well, most of those people, there's a reason why they're not going to make the money. They're not willing to put in the work.
You're exactly
right. Anybody can do it. We're blessed to live in the United States of America. If you want to come over here as an immigrant and become a millionaire, you can. But most people don't have that work ethic. Most people don't have that drive. Not everybody wants to do that. There's a lot of people that say they want to do it.
Yeah.
But do you really want to do it? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to put in the time? Me personally, I just want to be able to do what I want when I want with my kids, my wife, and with the people I care about.
Well, and I think another thing that we've kind of addressed on, and you're not a white guy from Alabama. You're not just going to walk in and they're like, oh, look at the bald-headed white guy with a gray beard who's selling trucks, right? I mean, it's a different. But I want people to get to know you through this show, Frank, and I want people to know who you are. And it doesn't matter to you the color of skin or race or anything like that. It's like, hey, who are you? Are you a good person? Can I help you? Great. If I can't, this person can. And we go on our way. But the coolest stuff that I've heard you say today, your family, the freedom, and the money you make, it's just money. It's like, hey, bro, it's just a tool, and you're using it to leverage your family, which is what it should be used for, right? So give maybe some last thoughts, a quote, just kind of what would you say, from your first show to this show to the next show to when we get your bride on the show, like, what are some things that we should be looking out for Frank, and how do we follow Frank? How do people get to see you get slapped in the face and kick at the camera and do some cool stuff?
You can look me up, Frank Donley, on Facebook, Instagram, Real Frank Donley. If you're into YouTube, you want to know about the North Alabama area, check out Donley Real Estate. We're here, to provide value to everybody. If you want someone that's going to keep it real, you know who to hit up.
Exactly. And if somebody just wants to know, how would I do this? What would I do here? Are you the one answering the Instagram right now, or do you have a team do it? So they're talking to you if they hit you on the DMs. Okay. Because sometimes, you message people and you're like, hey, am I talking to their virtual assistant, AI, or whatever, right? Yeah. So, no, they're going to be able to reach you via Instagram. And, guys, I'm going to tell you, if you know Frank, follow, like, comment on his post. This guy's investing a lot of time and energy into giving away a lot of free information. And you're helping a lot of people. So let's share his message, guys. Get on the Real Frank Donley Instagram and share his stuff, because even if they don't buy a house, they'll be entertained, but then they're going to see Donley Real Estate. Frank, is there anything that I've messed out? Is there anything we missed on the show? Or are we good?
Nah, man, this was amazing. Thanks for having me on your show. And you guys should be following, if you're watching from my social media, you should be following Podcasts on Wheels and Brian Smith and his beautiful bride as well.
Yeah.
Courtney, what's your handle? Mama Means Business.
That's it. Thank you for that. And as you can see right there, he thinks about other people first. This guy's selfless. He's going to take care of your home. He's going to list it. He's going to sell it, or he's going to tell you what the real value is, and you need to listen to him because he gets deals done. He's efficient. He's top notch. White glove service, binders. The man's done it in California. He's doing it in Alabama, spending time with his family, creating freedom. I'm so impressed with you, Frank.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so impressed, man. Guys, this is a show that he said was going to be the best show. Let's see if you can make it the best show. Thank you for watching Podcast.